inside of me, with your name written in it. The language it is written in is a lovely one of figs and birds, of beaches the color of butter. All the walls are blue and made of glass. Another has a shelf filled with speckled stones, and the light pours across the floors. The trees outside are filled with fruit, and their leaves, they burn with song.
I can't possibly do the same one we've been doing tonight. Do you remember? But I would like to say that we were all born. Yeah, so there's that. And that we're all gonna die. That's the exciting part, right? It's learning how to live for a living. There's the tricky bitch. But it's gonna happen to all of us. It's no surprise. Every last person in here, every single one of us, gonna die. We're gonna assign different values to how much it hurt or who had it worse or what happened, but nonetheless, we're just gonna dissolve and die and be shuffled off into the great wide open, and whatever happens next, and not one of you have a say in that. It's just gonna happen exactly as it was supposed to, and it is supposed to. And about that, I would like to invite you now to join me and Timmy and the others in maybe participating in your existence and kicking it up a notch in psychological evolution and stop making everything such a goddamn tragedy. It's no surprise. We're gonna die. We don't have to sit around waiting on Orange Alert or Katrina or anything else to happen to show our neighbors we care about them. You can go do that right now. That's what takes more guts. The rest of it's just laziness, fashionable unoriginality. Bought. On a similar note of non-tragedy, sometimes one person loves another person and it's not reciprocated 100%. And the person in love some days wants to eat a shotgun, maybe. And there's nothing I can say to make you feel better if you're in the sticky tar pit of it right now and you're feeling that. But I do want to say from experience that it does dissolve with deep breaths and a lot of space and a lot of time. And I think it will eventually possibly end up applying to most of us in here. And it only gets better. You'll only get better. Don't give up. And then the last thing regarding dying, a giant actually, on whose shoulders I stand, a gentleman by the name of Utah Phillips, died. Oh, good, a couple of you know him. Helped pave the way for us to get to do what we love for a living, and telling stories and hanging out with people and just getting to live for a living. He died a couple years ago in his sleep at the age of 73, and the newspaper said he died of heart failure, but I was playing Trivial Pursuit with some friends in Seattle, and the question was, according to Sigmund Freud, what is the goal of all living organisms? And the answer, according to Freud, was death. And I was thinking, if Freud was right, which he has been about a couple of things, as embarrassing as that is, Mom. If Freud was right and the goal of all living things is death, then Utah Phillips did not die of heart failure, y'all. He died of heart success. This poem is for him and for everyone riding in the van who just made it all the way from the West Coast. on very long drives, 6 to 7 hours a day, and we are so happy to be in the Northeast where you guys all live close together. When I rode off into the sunset, there was no blackout or camera behind me. I did not recede into the distance. I was still very much present with what I had left behind. My horse was thirsty from how far I ran him, and your God is my witness. I ran him until I rode into town here and realized I'm not the end of a movie. I'm done playing sunsets for lonely. My best days are the days I see clearly. So I had hoped to come clean here perfectly for you and the whole saloon. But there is no polish on the tables tonight. Expect rough spots then when I show you my cards. These hands we were dealt may splinter. The spades could get under your skin. I was living with them under my skin. They were digging up into my film strip. I was riding with them stuck in my heart. It is work to ride head up and holy here. It is painters with slack in their brush. Painters all jacked up on stampede dust, just trying to get it right. I've been trying to get it right. And I've been learning here how to grow larger than the monsters alive in my dreams, swinging a crowbar out of my whistle, grand pianos out of my rust. I shot typewriter keys out of cannons I keep, aimed at the bandits alive in my trust. There were bandits alive in my trust, come to burn down the verbs left alone in my blood, barking like dogs in a combine. My horse had sweat like a war on a landmine, jawbone chomp at the bit like a bear trap telegraph. I know I look like a bleeding dot by now from where you stand, where there is mad dash and such wild west, and it is raining down locomotives on a horse who might not have a name, but who carries a trough in his chest, empty as it may be today, from feeding bandits disguised as the Pony Express, coming up spades and splinters, my workhorse spitting out hammers and ink. There is a colony of bad fathers who built this place, still alive in the way I was led to think, like a snake who can shed his own crucifixion, or a midnight rider who leaves his beast under the whip of a daylight sky. Y'all, that's why I looked like Gallup cursive when you held me under the horizon line to magnify every single silver screen I stole while I was high on my filthy electric whale, like a bullet through a junkyard ghost. You know, I don't care to be good, Sheriff. I care to be whole. So read what it says in my buckles, boy. Take your sunset out of my rise. I will not send you sailing if you came here to drive. And I know you came here to drive. That's why it reads, don't give up on your saddle. Like I wrote, won't give up on my life. Like I've been typing my name on a horse I drove through the desert as sure as a river he ran. And I swear on my shadow he wouldn't turn back. No matter how much slack I typed into his neck, not everyone wants to go home, to get the sunset painted back into their bones, to have the law with all that slack in its love, pretending to save me. You don't need to save me. I already did that myself. When your God is my witness never turned up. There was a typewriter buried alive in that horse. The one I rode to get out of the flood. about the audience. This is you. In the dream, there were hundreds of y'all celebrating and going bananas and laughing and clapping your heads off as I was up on stage. And I came to an understanding in my dream that it was not because I was something else up here. It was because I was finally starting to get it, and you were all being very supportive. Thank you for that. You have saved me thousands in therapy, and I appreciate you very much. About getting it, I had another dream months later that there was a giant oval tub, and I had a square shovel, and I was shoveling out what was called blubber crud. I know because my dream told me that that's what it was called. And I was shoveling it out with a square shovel, and I couldn't get into the oval part with the squareness. And a voice of reason popped up in my head and went, "Hey, dude, it's your dream." I went, "Oh, yeah, fucking A, okay." So I switched out the square shovel for an oval shovel and was able to fit right in there perfectly. And I was very impressed with myself for figuring this out in the middle of my dream, lucidly. And so I kept shoveling blubber crud and just knocking it out, and I was getting it in there real good because I could fit into the oval ends very easily. And the voice came back and he's like, "No, dude, listen really close, bud. This is your dream. Oh, holy shit." So I disappeared the shovel and I stopped shoveling shit and I woke up. I invite you to do the same. Remember when you were 4 years old and your room looked like a war zone? It was you created that during the 5 hours that one day when mom was cooking and preparing other stuff and didn't come in and check on you, and you had plenty of time to empty out everything that they had ever bought you. And it was in every nook and cranny of the entire room, under every possible hard-to-reach place, and in the lights, including that fun little Hawaiian plastic lei which you hung on the light bulb and didn't know would melt and almost burn the house down. Remember that? And mom came in and saw it and said you had to clean up every last puzzle piece, every game part, every toy component, every action figure, replace the stuffies back on the bed after you make it, including the top bunk, which is a bitch for 4-year-olds, by the way. Remember that? And you took one look and realized, no way, man, I'm not down with that. And then you threatened to run away if she really made you do it. Remember? And so she helped you pack. Got you all bundled up in that jacket that all of us poor kids had, the one that looks like navy blue tires stacked on top of each other. That never failed to rip in the first week like on a nail until shards of cotton would come out throughout the school year. Remember, until peeled back. Maybe that was my issue, but. And then she got you, warmed in that scarf that Grandma made, that knit scarf, and tucked it in because it was winter and it was cold outside, and you were allergic to it. And she told you the anecdote about hitchhikers and hitchhiking, and how it all these ends, and you're gonna get skinned alive and strung up and die. And then she shuffled you on out the front door with a smile and shut the door and locked it, and you turned back with your huffy red cheeks, ready to speak your piece in the name of all that is unfair and unjust. And she also closed the blinds so that no one could see you, and you couldn't see in. And you stood there in the cold, and you had made up your mind you were going to follow through, so you shuffle stomped it, heavy stepped it down the front porch steps, remember? And you ran away, all brave you, for 10 minutes to the edge of the driveway before you realized couple of things you had never realized in your very challenging 4 years. One, I have no idea how to make macaroni and cheese. And the second, and the most important one, is that there's no other destination than home. 4 years old. What else is there? I watched your exhale blow back across the driveway. I remember you run back toward the door with all your heart. You got so much heart, you do. You were ready to reveal that new choice. And you banged on the door, and as soon as they opened up just a little bit, enough for you to cram your entire body through, you ran into the living room huffing and puffing and stared at everybody in the eyes, ready to talk to them about how you had changed your mind and you would in fact be cleaning up your war zone. And very excited about this new choice to be home. And remember how none of them said anything except, "Oh, yeah. See, we thought you had run away." That moment is responsible for my hate and my sense of humor. You can call me an angry ghost when I'm gone. Or you can laugh into my disposition. But my mom will still see me as her wide-eyed wanderer out behind the garage, inventing ways to fend off dog attacks that will probably never happen. I picked the scabs from my knees because Mom said it would leave a scar. I thought that was fucking awesome. I picked all the scabs from my knees. I put most of these scars here. You probably did too. Don't let anybody fool you. Don't let anybody fool you. Not even yourself. New York City, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It has been a heck of a moment. Thank you, Programming Board and NYU, for having us back out here once more.